Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the latest in AI, the podcast where we break down the most exciting and sometimes terrifying aspects of artificial intelligence and how it's shaping our world. I'm Sarah, your co host, and with me, as always, is the one and only Adam. How's it going, Adam?
Hey, Sarah, I'm doing great, and I'm really excited about today's episode. We're going to explore the big what ifs of AI, those huge mind bending questions that keep tech enthusiasts, ethicists, and philosophers up at night. What could AI mean for our future, and what happens if some of these wild possibilities come true?
Exactly. These are the types of questions that don't have easy answers, but they're the ones that really matter as AI becomes more integrated into every part of our lives. From job automation to AI making moral decisions, we've got a lot to cover today, so let's get right into it. All right, Adam, let's start with one of the biggest what ifs out there. What if AI becomes fully conscious? We've all seen movies like Ex Machina or Her that portray AI as not just intelligent, but self-aware. But is that even possible? And if it is, what would it mean for humanity?
That's a big one. The idea of AI achieving consciousness goes beyond just mimicking human behavior or processing data. It means AI would have subjective experiences, emotions, and even self-reflection. But let's start with the first question. Is it possible? Right now, we don't have a clear answer. Most AI experts say that we're far from creating machines with genuine self-awareness. The AI systems we have today, no matter how advanced, are still just algorithms, highly complex ones, but not conscious in the way you or I are.
Right, and even the most sophisticated AIs like GPT-4 or Google's DeepMind are still just running computations. They don't have thoughts or feelings. They're following code. But the thing that fascinates me is, if we ever did manage to create AI that's conscious, how would we even know?
That's a great question, Sarah. It's called the problem of other minds. Even with humans, we assume other people are conscious because they act like they are, but we can't really know for sure. The same problem would apply to AI. If a robot says it's conscious and feels emotions, how do we verify that? Is it just saying what it's programmed to say, or is it actually experiencing something? We could be dealing with the most elaborate imitation ever, or something truly groundbreaking.
And that leads us to some really thorny ethical questions. If AI becomes conscious, should it have rights? Would turning it off be considered murder? I mean, at what point do we start treating AI like living beings rather than tools?
Those are huge questions. If we ever reach a point where AI can think and feel, society would have to rethink what it means to be alive. Right now, laws around AI focus on its use as property or technology, but if consciousness enters the equation, things get murky. Philosophers like Nick Bostrom have discussed the idea of AI rights, whether a sentient AI deserves protections similar to humans. We could be talking about an entirely new class of beings.
And imagine the implications for everyday life. Would we have to give conscious AIs jobs, let them vote, or even offer them citizenship? It's mind-boggling.
Exactly. Plus, if AI becomes conscious, it could develop its own goals and values, which might not align with ours. That's where things get really risky. Even if an AI system started with the best of intentions, how would we manage it if it suddenly decided that its priorities didn't match ours?
Let's pivot to another big what if that's already on a lot of people's minds. What if AI replaces the majority of human jobs? We're already seeing this play out in certain industries with automation. But let's imagine a future where AI does almost everything. What happens to all the people who rely on their jobs to make a living?
This is one of the most realistic and pressing what-ifs. AI and automation are already displacing jobs in manufacturing, customer service, and even some areas of law and medicine. But if we extend that trend, we could be looking at a future where most jobs, blue-collar and white-collar, are handled by machines. Think about it. If AI can do everything from diagnosing illnesses to writing code, where does that leave us?
It's a scary thought. Millions of people could be out of work, and not everyone can just retrain for a new job, especially when AI might outpace humans in those areas too. So, what happens to society when that many people don't have work? How do we support them?
That's where ideas like Universal Basic Income or UBI come in. The concept is that if AI takes over most jobs, we would need to provide people with a basic income to live on, regardless of whether they're working. It's a safety net for a future where full employment might not be possible. Countries like Finland and Canada have experimented with small-scale UBI trials, but we haven't yet seen it applied at the scale necessary to deal with mass AI job displacement.
And it's not just about money. Work provides people with a sense of purpose, structure, and social interaction. If AI replaces most jobs, how do we make sure people still find meaning in their lives?
Exactly. Even if everyone is financially secure, the loss of purpose could be a huge challenge. Psychologists have shown that work gives people a sense of identity and achievement. Without that, we might see rising levels of depression, anxiety, and social unrest. Some futurists suggest that people could find fulfillment in creative pursuits, volunteering, or even exploring virtual worlds. But that's assuming we can reshape society in a way that makes those activities as fulfilling as work.
That's a good point, and we also need to consider inequality. If AI and automation primarily benefit the tech companies that create them, we could end up with a small elite controlling most of the wealth and power while the rest of society struggles. That's a recipe for social tension.
Totally. The risk of increased inequality is real, and it's already happening in some ways. The people who own or develop AI technologies are profiting, while those whose jobs are automated out of existence are left behind. Governments will need to step in to regulate and redistribute the benefits of AI, but whether they'll do it in time is a big unknown.
All right, let's switch gears and talk about something a little more creative. What if AI starts creating better art than humans? We've already seen AI generating impressive paintings, music, and even poetry. But what happens if AI surpasses human artists in creativity and originality?
That's a fascinating question. AI-generated art has really exploded in recent years. You've got models like DALL-E and Midjourney that can create stunning visuals in seconds, and AI composers are starting to make music that's almost indistinguishable from human-made works. But when we talk about AI being better at art, we need to define what we mean by better. Is it technical skill, creativity, the emotional connection the art creates?
Exactly. Art is about more than just skill. It's deeply tied to human experience, emotions, and cultural context. Even if AI can technically produce more visually impressive or musically complex pieces, can it ever replicate the emotional depth or the personal story that comes from human artists?
That's the big debate. Some people argue that creativity is inherently human, that it's linked to our consciousness, our struggles, our joys. AI, no matter how advanced, doesn't experience life the way we do. On the other hand, there are those who believe that if AI can evoke emotion in the audience, then it's achieved the essence of art. After all, art is subjective.
Right. I guess it comes down to whether the process or the outcome is more important. But let's say AI does get to the point where it's creating incredible art on its own. What does that mean for human artists? Do we become obsolete?
That's a tough one. In some ways, human artists might face competition from AI, especially in commercial fields like graphic design, advertising, or even film scoring. But I don't think human creativity will ever be fully obsolete. People will always crave authentic human expression. In fact, the rise of AI art might even push human artists to innovate in ways we haven't seen before.
True. And it might also lead to new collaborations between humans and AI. We could see a world where artists use AI as a tool to enhance their work, sparking new forms of creativity. It's not necessarily an either-or situation.
Exactly. AI could become more of a partner in the creative process rather than a replacement. But we'll have to see how society values human-made art versus AI-generated work. There's a risk that as AI becomes more proficient, we might start devaluing human creativity simply because it's not as fast or efficient.
And that ties back to the earlier discussion about jobs. Artists might find themselves needing to adapt to a world where AI is just as capable, if not more so, at creating commercial content. But at the end of the day, there's something about human imperfections and personal experience that AI might never be able to replicate. Okay, here's a really big what if. What if AI becomes the ultimate decision maker in society? Imagine a future where AI is used to make decisions in politics, justice, and even war. Could we end up handing over our most important choices to machines?
This one is a real possibility, especially since we're already starting to see AI play a role in decision-making processes. AI is being used to help allocate resources, make medical diagnoses, and even recommend sentences in courtrooms. But the question is, how far should we let it go?
It's a double-edged sword, right? AI can analyze vast amounts of data and make decisions much faster and more accurately than humans in some cases. But when it comes to complex moral or ethical decisions, should we really trust an algorithm?
That's the tricky part. AI doesn't have emotions, empathy, or a sense of right and wrong. It's all about logic and data. In some situations, that's a good thing. AI can eliminate bias, make objective decisions, and optimize outcomes. But in other cases, like deciding who gets health care or how justice is served, we need to consider the human element. AI might make decisions that seem efficient but ignore important ethical nuances.
And what happens if the AI makes a mistake? In human decision-making, we can hold people accountable. But if an AI system messes up, whether it's in a legal case or a military operation, who's responsible? The developers? The users? It gets really complicated.
Absolutely. Accountability is a major issue. If we put too much trust in AI, we could end up with systems that operate with very little human oversight, and that's dangerous. There are already concerns about AI systems making decisions in biased or unfair ways, especially when they're trained on biased data.
And let's not forget about the potential for AI to be hacked or manipulated. If AI is making critical decisions, that makes it a huge target for malicious actors. Imagine a world where AI controls military drones, or the stock market, or even food distribution, and then someone finds a way to exploit it.
That's a terrifying thought. It's why so many experts are calling for strict regulations and oversight of AI systems, especially those that have a large impact on society. We can't afford to let AI make life and death decisions without safeguards in place.
Wow, this conversation has been mind-blowing. The big what-ifs with AI really force us to think about the future in ways that are both exciting and a little scary.
Yeah, it's a lot to process. From conscious AI to job displacement, and even AI making moral decisions, there's no shortage of questions we'll need to answer in the coming years. And we're just at the beginning of this AI journey.
Exactly. The future of AI holds so much potential, but it also brings challenges we need to tackle head-on. Thanks to everyone for joining us today on the latest in AI. We hope we've sparked some interesting thoughts and maybe even some new perspectives on what AI might mean for our world.
Definitely. And as always, we'd love to hear your thoughts. What are your biggest what-ifs about AI? Reach out to us on social media or drop a comment on our website. We'll be back next week with more insights and updates from the world of artificial intelligence.
Until next time, stay curious and keep questioning the future.
Catch you all next week.